Hey everyone, this is DickPix and today we have a look at this beautiful ABUS 83 AL45 padlock. This example contains a snowman core with a GDS cylinder inside, and when I picked it up, this key remembers me pretty much of an ESSA key, which you see here. As you can see, they are pretty much looking the same, and this one has the label ABUS, whereas the original has an ESSA label. This is also original, but that is an ABUS lock. So there seem to be a cooperation between those, or they just use the same blank, no idea, but that gave me pretty much ESSA vibes when I saw this padlock. Let's find out whether I'm right. So the pinning is as follows, and you can see here a taper in 1, a Christmas tree in 2, taper in 3, Christmas in 4, taper in 5, and a Christmas tree in 6. So we have to overcome first, because of the kind of the shape of the pin, we have to first pick all binders, then the taper pins, and then most likely all stages of the Christmas trees. In this particular lock, there are no undermillings inside of here. There's just a slight overmilling, as you can see. And just go quick through them with my pick. So no milling. No milling at all. And yeah, you can definitely see at this lock the influences of an ESSA key or ESSA lock, because the key bow is almost identically to an ESSA. That is the ESSA 600 key, and yeah, that lock is by ABUS, and this particular lock has a pretty shallow cutted bitting. So let's have a look at what that means. In this particular bitting, with the pins sitting just in the lock at the warding right now, I have to pick each stage completely, because if I had kind of a more deep cut or deeper cut on the key, it would mean the key pin would be longer and the Christmas tree would kind of sit, for example, like here. And that would mean I don't have to pick the spool part of the pin. Same with this, same with this. So I have to pick pretty much everything in this lock. I clamped it up in the wires. Let's see that the key is working. Key is working. Let's get to picking. I use a deep hook and a 1.3mm multi-pick tensioner, which fits perfectly. And now let's start. First thing I have to do is take care of binders, and as we saw, there are taper pins inside, so I have first to take care of the binders, and then I have to deal with the taper pins. But as soon as you are at this stage of picking this tapered pins, you know that, you feel it. I'm going now through each pin and try to get the binder picked. And I think it's currently 2 holding me back. Yeah, that was 2. And now most likely I could start picking. Yeah, there it is. So I think I'm already in a full set. So I already repicked those. I preset something. Now I have to pick 2. I go for 3 now. It's only 6, I think. Okay, I dropped something. Okay, 6 is picked. It's only 3. Maybe 1 now. I dropped again something. Oh no, it was 2 actually. Okay, so now only 6. And dropped 3. Again 3. This one is actually pretty tricky to pick. It was, oh lord, it was 2, I think. So let's get the focus out and let's cut the lock. Let's see what's inside. So there is a screw inside on the top, so you can just easily gut it with the Torx driver. And you might help a little bit with your key to get. I'm not sure if I can turn it back actually, because the screw. I want to release it anyways. So I just turned the core a little more to release the ball bearing and drop the screw. And we need a pinning tray for that. And now we can go to get the core out. All right. So that is part of the actuator, and this is how the lock looks inside. That inside is the Z-bar. I made a video about that. I probably link it somewhere. The Z-bar is actually only for the function of key retaining or not key retaining. And I lock the lock now back up. And unscrew this cap on the rear. And now we can have a look at the pins in a bit. Have to make a little bit room. And there's a bit. And I need a key. And now we are good to go. So always shimmy your lock and you're good to go. All right. I've got into the wrong slot. 6. So for now I put the core here. Rearrange my pins a little bit. Just for better view. They are all standard key pins. Alright, let's get to the interesting part, the driver pins. Right. So I try now to focus my camera to the, hopefully it works. First pin is a taper driver. Second pin is a Christmas tree. Now, third pin is a taper driver. I do it a little bit deeper. It makes it easier then to not touch the camera always. Fourth pin is the Christmas tree again. Fifth pin, another tapered pin. And the last one hopefully I'll be able to show is another Christmas tree. Okay, now everything is out. I get out the last spring here. Alright, let's remove this focus mode. We have a Bible cover on the bottom, so it is also possible to cut it through the bottom, at least on this lock. And in front there might be some drill protection or something. And yeah, here you see a slot actually normally for a sidebar, I think. It doesn't make sense on ABUS locks, but it does make sense on ESSA locks because they come, the higher ones came with sidebar. So let's put the cylinder body over here and have a quick look at those pins we have here in front of us. All right. So 1, 3, and 5 are tapered pins, and 2, 4, and 6 are the Christmas trees. Pretty nice lock to pick. And yeah, that also reminds heavily on ESA cylinders, because Christmas trees are actually part of an ASA 700 cylinder, and also the taper pins can be in there, or they are in there. Alright, so this is the core of this ABUS GDS, and you can see there is no milling inside. Normally ASA locks can come with milling, under milling, that the heads of the gin or the Christmas trees catch inside of there. And here is not one chamber milled, not on one side of this, and this has only a slightly overmilling on the top. You can see that. I try to zoom in, and yeah, that helps maybe a little bit, but not as much as an undermilling or a milling inside of this core would do. All right. Again, the pinning. That is the pinning of an ABUS GDS. All right. Now how to assemble a lock like that. Let's first take the core and put all key pins inside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can always, if you have a key, you can always check if the pinning you did right now is correct, because you can just insert the key, and if everything is on the shear line, you're completely safe. So I just put the core with everything inside on the edge, that nothing can fall out. All right, now we take the core, and I always start from the rear, because reaching through the core, it's sometimes difficult. So I just start like that, and now I will take the focus point to here, most likely, like that, okay. And on this one, I know there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes drilled. Sometimes there are more holes. You have to take a little bit attention to this. And yeah, I start now on the rear, inserting the first spring. This is a little bit of practice, and inserting the pin. You just push it through, and with your hand you push the follower up and catch it, and then you can just push it through and keep it under the follower. Then I push it through, turn the follower, because now I can pick or pin the rest of the lock. I push it through until I reach or see the pin. Okay, that was a stupid example. Okay, that can happen, but we just let it come up, and you can see it there, and you can also just push it down on that side, and that will be all right. You didn't damage the spring with that. You did practically nothing. It just came up, and you have to reinsert it. So now for the fourth pin, insert it from the front, insert the spring, push it a little bit down, take your, in this case, the tapered pin, and put it on top, push with your tweezer the pin down and catch it with a follower. Next one. Spring inside, take the Christmas tree in this case, catch it on the top, on the top part of this pin, push it into the slot, catch it with your follower, push it down and keep it there. Then the last three. Get the pin in. I just checked if I was on the right pins, but I'm on the right slot, so put the taper pin on there, maybe align it a little bit, push it down and keep it there. Next one. Spring, pressure, catch it kind of, and then you have catched this Christmas tree. Now the last one. Like that. So now we have pinned up the lock. Always make sure you pinned up the correct side and you didn't mess up anything like that. Alright, so now you take the shim. I shim now from the front and just push it through. And yeah, I always shim if possible because you don't want to risk break your lock and it's not worth it. Okay, so now you have everything inside, you have your pins in the key, and as long as you have everything here to shear line, you're good if you insert it right away with the shim inside. So I just put it to the correct position like that, insert it completely, and then you can just put your follower away, you can try to turn it, pull the shim out, and you're good. So then that's a good practice to always do that. Pinch your fingers against the core and push the key out. At this point, few pins jumped up already and you can't mess up pulling the whole core out. Get the complete key out and the core is fixed inside. So now reassemble the rear cap of the lock that the plug can't, or the core can't fall out anymore. All right. So just make sure you assembled everything correct and don't turn too hard. Just tighten it good and you're good. Okay, so now for the funny part, you have to, I remove now the fixed focus, you have to insert this thing and that goes here, and in this gap there is normally the Z-bar placed. The Z-bar is still in the lock, and so we just have to hit the position or hit this position where the Z-bar is sitting. So you can always in between test your key if it works before you put it into the core. And right now I look into the core, see the Z-bar and just hope that everything works. Insert it, turn it, and if you get lucky it will find the Z-bar. If not, you have to move it again a little bit and try again. It is there, so it needs to catch at some point. Or just get the zebra out and do it in a different order of reassembling. So it's pretty much in the middle, so normally it should work if I insert it like that. So I don't want this time. So did it work? Okay, don't work. So what do I do now? Let's get this small zebra out. Then we can talk about the zebra also. This is the zebra. This small thing there. And it has a blank side and a side with a point. As you can see maybe. There. So it was assembled like that with the blank side up, and the blank side means it's key retaining. If you put the point up, facing you when you reassemble it, then it would mean that it's non-key retaining. So what you do now is you assemble this thing, you put this thing inside this gap. Oh, let's get it into the gap. It's too small for me. So now the point has to face up because it's exactly reversed, because I'm watching on the core right now and I don't get it on there. So let's grab it other different. All right, like that. So right now point is facing up into the lock and the blank side is facing down to us. All right, then you just insert it like normal, get the core completely in, and you notice you can't turn the core completely out. That means it's key retaining. So what we do now is we lock it back up, because we want always to test before we screw it in if the padlock opens again. Hold with your finger the snowman core in, or the core in general, and it's now locked up. So you could remove the key and you can open it again. So that is working. I do it again. Open it. It's working. So I can definitely go reassemble everything. Hold it like that. I get my other bit for it. Oops. Like that. Okay, I can't do it with one hand. Let's get a helper hand. All right. So let's put the screw back in. And if that happens, that the ball bearing catch it, just turn the core a little bit more. Don't do that upside down, because on some locks, I think also on this one, the shackle will pop out and everything will drop. And you might think you have damaged your lock with that. All right. Now screw it in and screw it definitely tight, because if it sticks out a little bit, you sometimes don't get the shackle completely closed, and that can cause a total mess with closing it. And yeah, sometimes there are locks where I did that. I don't know whether it can happen often, but yeah, you will end up in a position where the lock is already locked, but the key don't get out and so on. And yeah. So just screw it really tight, and that's tight. All right. Lock it up, and your lock is now again working. All right. That was the ABUS GDS ESSA influenced core and also padlock. Thanks for watching.